race 4 on day 2 of the Flying Scot Nationals at Carlyle Sailing Association. Day 1 was a little bit lighter, pin favored, go left. Day 2 is different, a little bit heavier breeze, and the boat is pretty favored here. We don't realize it until too late. Probably should have tried to get a little closer to the boat, but you can see the boat there. Believe it or not, we're about halfway in the middle of the line. The line is very long. We didn't have any general recalls. You can see like there's nobody down that other end of the line. Everybody is crowded up towards the boat. I like to stay low in the box so I can trim in and go upwind well before the gun goes off. So I'm pretty trimmed in here. Bow down. Good speed. Probably was a little bit late with my trigger pull there. I could have trimmed in and started sailing upwind a little bit earlier. We'll just said that's all of it, that's all my bang. He cranked it on all the way. You saw Tim's bow come way down there. He built a bunch of speed, and then he went up and created some separation. So it's a pretty nice technique there. You know, get that speed, and then you can drive the boat upwind and get the separation you need. Just looking at the wrinkles on his forestay there from his jib hanks, and looks maybe a little bit loose. It's a little wavy and a little windier, and a looser jib allows you to point higher, but the groove is narrower, so I think I would want mine a little bit tighter than that. But you can see there's no wrinkles at the top or at the very bottom, so it might be just about right. But when it's wavy, I like to air on a little bit. If it's windy and wavy, I like to air on a little bit tighter. It makes my groove a little bit wider, a little bit easier to drive to in the waves. A minute ago I said I got to drive, and my focus is to look at the waves and the telltales. You can see there's almost nobody down at the pin end. Now look at the waves and the telltales and concentrate on that driving. Okay, let's go back and look at that start. I grabbed this screenshot from a video that 5954 Gadzooks, Kevin and Kendall Kuntz, they're brothers. They have a Sailing with My Brother YouTube channel. They post a bunch of videos. For the Nationals, they actually had a camera at the top of their mast. Pretty cool. So great shot down the starting line. You can see myself in 6125 and Tim Porter and Steve Shaw there in 5064, just to weather of us. So this is right as the gun went off. You can see the big crowd, by the boat. Yeah, everyone but me knew the boat was super favored. But I specifically want to point out, and I'm super glad Kevin and Kendall had that camera up there, because you can see the line of breeze on the water. And you can just barely, believe it or not, you can barely see the boat, the bow of that pontoon boat that was the race committee. And you can see the line of pressure on the water. And I'm pretty sure that pressure comes with a right shift as well. So you get over on the right, you get a right shift, you're pretty golden. So I think everyone that started down near the boat really benefited from that. I think some people tacked out early and even got started at the boat, tacked to port, clear their air, and still made out really well. But you can see, we're a lot of boats here on starboard still to weather. I mean, none of those guys have tacked, and they're just way ahead of us. And that's just because, we're in a right phase right now, and I'm just praying that the wind goes back to the left, but we're not going to get that lucky. You can see Tim hit some waves there. As his bow hits those waves, he can't really put his bow down to rebuild speed. See him hit those waves right there, and 5064 I'm talking about. And he's got to put his bow down, to rebuild speed, and he can't because he's fallen into my bad air. And and it's only going to get worse from there. Now he's trying to luff a little to stay out of my air. That's the tough part when you've got somebody right to leeward of you. You can't put the bow down and rebuild speed in waves when you need to, you end up not being able to sail as fast as you want to. Even though you might not be in bad air, right? You can't put the bow down because you'll get into bad air. So it's a double whammy, I guess. But I should tack right here. I can clear Tim at this point. I can't clear probably the blue boat. That's 5310 John Kreidler. But maybe I should just go behind him, and get out to the right. But my experience from the day before is clouding my judgment here. On day one, I felt like it was a go left fest, and the left side really paid off for us. And so I'm not that encouraged to tack as a result. That's just directly to weather of us there, 6284, that is. I think that's Chip Merlin, and his crew was Chris Morgan, I think is his name. Chris and his wife are both great sailors, Monica. Yeah, see, okay, so John Kreidler tacks in the blue boat. That's 5310. It's going to allow Tim to tack here in a minute. So 5954, those are the guys. That's Sailing with My Brother, their YouTube channel. Kevin and Kendall. They got a camera on the top of that mast. It's pretty cool. Really surprised we're still going here. It kills me to watch this again. So I would say, mistake one was not starting close enough to the boat. Mistake number two right here is I waited way too long to tack to port. But as we take a look around, you can see there's just nobody down here. It's embarrassing. Right now we are got our Bibles out, our hands crossed, hands folded, and we're praying for a left shift. Now this race was really long, so we're going to speed a lot of this up. This race was well over an hour. Well, it was way over an hour for us. Maybe not for the leaders. Here we go. Back to the left. Not a good decision. There is this whole concept of, you got to sail what you got. We're kind of over middle left, and you got to sail what you got. And so we are doing the best we can. Kevin and Kendall in that 5954 took our stern earlier. I think we get to the Windward Mark right with them still. So even though they got, farther out to the right than us, we still ended up right close together. So I think this is Chip crossing our bow here. Merlin and 6284. Yeah, so I just said, hey, we're pretty close to the ley line. We got to get. All right, I don't want to go all the way to the ley line, that's for sure. Because if we get a lift, we'd not be able to take advantage of it. So we definitely don't want to get all the way to the ley line this far out. Otherwise, you could miss some opportunities. I really shouldn't be this close to the ley line at all. Okay, so this is the first boat around coming downwind. That's 6279, I think. And that's Tyler and Carrie Andrews. They are the boat builders. 6379, sorry. They're the boat builders. They are way out in front. It's just they're great people to have on the race course. It's great to have a builder for the class. It's yeah. Okay, in that blue and white spinnaker, that is 6199 Tomas Sandholm and his daughter. I think he's racing with Annika from Moraine Sailing Club. The next boat around here, let's see, what color is that spinnaker? Yes, yellow spinnaker, so that's Dave Ames in 4538. The next boat, tell who people are usually by their spinnakers. Yep, that's the gray spinnakers. That's, yep, with a K in the middle, that's Bruce and Lynn's Kitchen, 6130. Okay, coming back to the front here. We're getting pretty close to the ley line. You can just barely see the mark over there on the left. 5454. That's Robert Nina Cummins from Texas. Wavy here. Come on, tack, Dave. See, I overstood this starboard tack ley line, and I should not have. If I had called it closer, Chip right here wouldn't have been able to get in front of me. So that's another mistake. Overstood a little, and I shouldn't have. And here's a huge mistake right here, because I really had to slow down. I got overlapped with him, and I want to jibe set, right? And you try to go fast, and I don't want to go fast. I want to slow down so that I can jibe behind him. And now I'm overlapped, and there's nothing I can do. I want to jibe. I probably should have just set the kite and then jibe. But this is painful. Finally jibe, and now we'll put the kite up. We sailed a long way, reaching a long way out of our way, which was not great. So usually when you're on that offset leg, you want to sail as fast as you can, and it's just a habit now. I want to sail as fast as I can. We're planing on that offset leg, and I ended up getting overlapped with Chip, and then I couldn't do anything. I was trapped, I couldn't jibe, and probably should have just launched the kite. So that multicolored kite right behind Chip there, that is Kevin and Kendall. They have the camera at their mast. Right, they took our stern, so they are still behind us. So it's just interesting that the tactics on that upwind leg, even though he got right of us, you needed to be right early to take the biggest advantage of the righties. I think that's Tim Porter in the blue and white right behind him. Just gonna speed this long. Downwind leg up. We caught up to a couple boats here. Chip was able to get his sail underneath Robert Nina Cummins at 5454, so he actually was going to ground. How he did that? The pecking order behind us pretty much stayed the same on this downwind leg. There wasn't a lot of tactics, right? Because the wind's in a big right shift. It stayed in the right shift, so it's persistent, not oscillate. Persistent right shift, so you gotta get right. And we're gonna see what happens. Okay, so Chip got in front of Chip 6284, got in front of 5454. So we're looking down here, and because still to the right of us is 5788. He has to come up to get to the mark, so the angle of his boat allows me to call for an overlap because he's coming up, right? But if you look how far in front he is, he's almost going to cross in front of us here. Pretty much does. But he gives us room, so very nice. So here's where 5788 is not giving us bad air. We should just keep going this direction. And for some reason, I feel like Chip tacked, Robert Nina tacked, so I should tack. I had a case of the copycat syndrome. Now I believe Chip's already tacked back. Oh no, that's him on our windward hip here, 6284. Yep, okay, so we're all marching on starboard here. Guess I feel like I'm in good company. Pretty wavy, so we're sailing back through the waves that all those downwind boats have created, so it's even wavier. So if I had stayed on port longer, I think I wouldn't have, the waves wouldn't have been as bad. Now Chip up there, 6284, Chip Merlin, He ends up finishing, you know, we rounded the Windward Mark right next to him. He ends up finishing, I think, 5th in this race. So we had opportunities, and we just didn't take them. So this is an example of, we tacked back to port, we're barely crossing, or might not be crossing 6135. We should ask them, and we don't ask. Just go back. And this is the tack right here that pretty much sealed our death, because Chip Merlin in 6284 and Robert Cummings 5454, they finished, well, Robert finished 10th, Chip finished 5th, and those guys are both going out to the right side. And if we had done that, and look at that, I forced Eric back to the right in 6135. There goes Robert. If we had gone right there, we'd have been all right. Instead, we take this long tack out here to the back out to the left. Painful. So there was a lot of mistakes. We compounded our mistakes by making kind of the same mistake again, getting out to the left. We didn't learn our lesson the first time, which was, yeah, disappointing. But you know, when you watch these videos, it's one of the reasons I run the camera, so that I can learn from my mistakes. One of the reasons I make the video is so that I can seal this memory in my permanent memory, so I don't ever forget this mistake. Believe me, having to rewatch the video is painful. All right, so we crossed in front of Mark Johnson, 5721. He's a great MC scow sailor. He's like top 5 in the country, I think, MC scow sailor. This time we remember to yell. He allowed us to go, great. We were in front of him before, we're barely in front of him this time. So we were in front of him farther last time. So we made out a little bit, going a little bit farther right. He's in phase with the shifts, and you're gonna see here in a minute, we are not in phase. On the next crossing, he's gonna have us. So those downwind boats, looks like those are the Challenger fleet going downwind here. Here we go, back to the left. Oh. See, now Mark has a big lead on us.
Cross, 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 cross.
I mean, I guess not a big lead yet. He asked if he could cross, and we're going to give him the same courtesy he gave us, of course.
Go get him, guys, go get him.
I know tack across is not a legitimate thing. I believe it's courtesy amongst good sailors. You know, we should all sail that way. We're not trying to screw other people out there on the race course. We're all out there to have fun and sail the best race possible. So, and Mark Johnson was, it's funny crossing tacks with him. Okay, so it looks like the order is the same. Tyler and Carrie's lead is not nearly as big as it once was, so that is interesting. Looks like Tomas caught up a little bit with him. There's John Carlyle from Western Carolina Sailing Club. So I didn't want to go all the way to the starboard tack lay line. Felt like we were too far away to get that close, so we gonna get a little closer on starboard, come in, I don't know, 5-10 boat lengths low of it. I was going to say about Mark Johnson, he was the one that said to me one time, we're sitting having a beer after racing. We had cross tacks a couple times that day. He says to me, you know, when two boats meet going upwind on opposite tacks, somebody's going the wrong way. And I'm like, yep, you're absolutely right. Somebody's not going the right way. And we chose wrong a lot in this race. Got a little knock there. Okay, it's time to go back. See if I could take advantage of that. come in this teal greenish color boat, Patrick Finnick, 1891 I think is his number. From the Carolinas, so we see him a lot on the regatta circuit. He's yelling at us to make sure we see him. Pretty sure we tacked outside the 3 boat length circle, so. Sitting on the right side of the boat to turn it downwind. Now try to keep your weight on the side that you want, turning the outside of the boat right, and heel it, the weather in that case, to make it turn to the left. I didn't grab the red, and so we got in twist as a result. John did a great job. Pulling on the buff in order to get that twist out. Pull down on the luff of the spinnaker. A lot of times that'll help get the twist out, or back the main halyard off is another way too. Remember, we cross-taxed with Mark Johnson. You can see him just to the right of us, pretty far out there in front. So we're making pretty good ground on John Kreidler and Dan Teagle there. They're a little bit heavier than us. Yeah, who am I kidding? They're a lot heavier than us. Going downwind, and we would plane a little bit, then we get off the plane. Then we plane a little bit, then we come off. I tend to like to sit on the back to initiate planing sometimes, and then sit back on the seat because it feels like the tail is dragging if I'm sitting back there all the time and we're not planing. And this is another bit of a rough mark rounding. I'm not sure how I would have handled it differently, but these guys had to jibe, right? We could have stayed on port all the way downwind, but they jibe back to starboard. They're on starboard, we're on port. We've got no rights at all. They've got inside overlap, so we have to make a left-hand turn because of the big shift. You see Eric doing a great job of slowing down. He realizes he's got to go behind Mark Johnson in 5721. So he does a good job slowing down. 5788, if you remember last time we ran the Leeward Mark right next to him. He's gotten in front of us too. So here we go. Let these guys go round in order. We should all have a good mark rounding. Eric has a great mark rounding. Just our air is not clear, so we essentially have to tack. Won't have much choice there. So again, we're going out to the left. The pain repeats. Now my camera is not gonna. My camera runs. This was a really long race, over an hour. My camera didn't record the whole thing, but even the last GoPro takes like these 8-minute videos, right? And you have to stitch them back together. And the last one for this race, or the last two, were corrupted somehow. So that is over to our left, coming down is 5794. I believe that's Bill Drahan. I know. I don't know what happened to him. I mean, we had a rough race too, so I know. I think he had a breakdown. And I don't even think he was able to race the next race. So, or that's what I heard. Thank goodness we didn't go any farther out to the left. Starting to come back here, but we get out this direction and there's just a huge righty out there, and pretty much all these boats that are out here already end up being overstood on the starboard ley line. Listen to what Joel says.
The other way, we got bumped.
Yep.